Ask Reddit. What was your school's huge scandal? 5 or so guys got caught smoking synthetic weed, the kind that utterly reeks and will F you up internally, in the school toilet right next to the biology rooms, where the biology teacher had just got out of being a drug officer in the Met. When asked if they smoked cannabis in the toilets, apparently one of them, he was new to the school and didn't speak much English, said no. I only smoked weed. There were 2 teachers at my school who were in their late 20s early 30s who were married. The husband cheated on her with another teacher in her late 40s. Their affair was known by basically everyone. They were even caught in the same car after a school excursion by passing students. They were on the same seat. Eventually the wife found out and her office was right next to the mistress apparently, and they moved them to opposite ends of the teacher offices. Also, the husband and wife kept teaching at my school for the entire time I was there, and the husband wound up engaged to his mistress. Apparently the principal was totally on the wife's side and she got days off to prepare for court whilst the husband didn't. How do nearly all the students know all this? Apparently teachers like gossiping as much as students. When I was a junior, a freshman girl came into school before first bell, wielding steak knives, and then proceeded to stab 10 kids before a teacher tackled her and apprehended her. Best part was, there was a whole case afterwards of angry parents trying to get that particular teacher fired for putting his hands on a student. My high school district's superintendent hired a relative who wasn't qualified for the job, increased the salary of administrators every year, used the district's credit card to buy meals, groceries, gas, personal electronics, and gift cards. When the state audit went through, they said that the overpay of administrators and the personal spending cost the school district around $1.1 million. Her husband was also an administrator. When she eventually got caught, she just retired and for some reason never faced federal charges. When she retired, she had a $260,518 salary. My favorite part is that the state audit discovered that the district's credit card was used to purchase logging equipment the same month the superintendent's husband filed paperwork to open a timber company. Everyone knew there was corruption in the school district, but no audits or investigations happened until someone was threatened by the superintendent's husband on Facebook. A girl died in the pool during an event at the school. The swim teacher was blamed and was prosecuted. The girl who died was at my sister's class. Both were 7 at the time. That happened over 10 years ago. But the parents haven't had another child since. She was their only kid. There was a male and female high school pay teacher that essentially shared an office. They always got along really well. And kids would always joke that we were dating. We were just dumb kids. So we never really thought anything of it. After a couple years, they both started acting weird around each other, and there were rumors that he left his wife and kids for this pay teacher. This wasn't actually true though. What actually happened was they added on a bedroom to their house and the pay teacher moved in. The kids pretty much just had 2 moms and everyone got along wonderfully. It was strange for about a year, and then it was business as usual. I guess they are going on about 15 years strong. Some guy jokingly wrote, "If I won't get a B for this, I'm going on a rampage," on his English test. Fast forward 15 minutes. A police response unit of 12 stormed the classroom and defying arrested the shout of him, without being brutal. But it still was quite frightening for deterrence reasons, I guess. A very popular guy at my school was arrested for videotaping people using the restroom. He was 18. They were not. Gym teacher, basketball coach and custodian were caught in the act in the showers. Custodian lost his job, but teacher kept his. Go figure. The caretaker killed 2 local girls and hid them in the school. He tried using the clay kiln to burn them. He later dumped them a few miles away. My high school guidance counselor fed a science teacher's wife and everyone knew about it. They got a divorce. Both teachers still work at the same school to this day. And students will never ever let it go. The story has been handed down from year to year. We had 2 teachers arrested for secretly recording kids in separate incidents. Our woodshop teacher had a low angle camera on the floor pointing up towards the seats. and also would slide an iPad out from under his desk when girls would walk up to it. He let a student borrow his flash drive. Who found the evidence? Then our speech teacher was caught hiding a camera underneath the sink in one of the private bathrooms that special education used. The assistant principal was embezzling money. It promptly started a hashtag. My high school had some fights that for some reason managed to make the local news. And the principal's words about it were broadcasted as well. She was pissed and talked loudly in a passive-aggressive manner over the announcements the next morning, repeating our school's mission statement over and over, ending the broadcast with record that. Record that became a bit of a meme around the school after that. And the school seems to have lightened up about the situation since, because the journalism team shirts have record that written across the back. A girl in my year lied about having a sexual relationship with a teacher, in gross detail might I add. We all knew that she was straight up crazy and was making it up. But the school board obviously had to take it very seriously and the teacher was fired. Worst part was that the teacher's wife was also a teacher at the school. And so, even though she wasn't fired, she pretty much had to leave her job as well. The school board eventually figured out the girl was lying and offered both teachers their positions back. But they both declined. In my senior year, a group of friends, who were goth before goth was really a thing, experienced a tragedy when one of the friends accidentally killed the other. The friend who caused the accident took his life a few weeks later. This touched off a wave of suicides at my school. 5 in total. Over the next 3 months. Someone created a fake Facebook profile for our principal. He was commenting realistically on teachers' pages, but the context never lined up. Nice to see you last weekend, Ems. Brown. Then once he had everyone as friends, he started subtly roasting kids, hahaha. He accessed the account from the computer lab and was never caught. He was my friend's brother. At the French-speaking school, some students got suspended because of a song they sang at a talent show. The issue the school had with the song is that it was in English. The students decided to do a sit-in and not go to class in protest of the suspension. Once it hit the news, it reignited a lot of French vs English sentiments throughout the whole town. A picture of my senior class in a hot tub got out. There were boys and girls in it at the same time. The administration considered expelling us all. Christian schools are nonsense. I recently learned that principal of a school I used to go to got fired. I was kinda glad because he was a dickhead. The reason he got fired? After communism was abolished in Poland, apparently if you wanted to have administrative job you had to sign a document that said you didn't work with communists. Recently it came to light that he in fact did work with communists. I went to a small Christian high school that also had a middle and elementary school on the grounds. The principal of the high school had a child that was in my grade. One day he comes over the intercom and announces that he's stepping down from his position. He then goes on to talk about how he and the female gym coach had been having an emotional affair for the last few months. This announcement goes through every speaker in all 3 schools. I remember everyone in my class looking over at his daughter, who had a complete surprise on her face. From what I gathered, this was the first time she was hearing about all of this. Shortly after, the gym teacher also left her position. But the most interesting part? The gym teacher had no idea this was going on. She was just doing her job and thought she was friends with everyone. The principal read more into their relationship and decided to go to the church with it, and they made this decision. The gym teacher left her job out of shame and had to spend a lot of time explaining to her husband what exactly was going on. Well, I don't know if this was a school-wide scandal. And it was years after I graduated, but it's a scandal and a half. I went on holiday with my recently graduated brother. I graduated 6 years before him. He had noticed his friends had posted online that they were in that same city too. So we all met up with this group of super young looking dudes, all around 18-19. There was an older looking woman I kind of recognized and I assumed it was an older sister. I spoke to her saying, "Hey, I know you from somewhere." And she says, "Yeah, I teach at the school." It hit me that I'd seen her speech at my other brother's graduation 3 years before that. Then it hit me that she was holding hands and kissing this guy who looked about 15. And she was in her mid-30s. Not to mention his ex-teacher, even though they only hung out before he graduated and then they were instantly official. What the actual F? Apparently they now live together and she still teaches there. Super weird. Everyone's favorite teacher was in fact banging that student he always hung out with, who would sit in his lap and would visit him after she graduated. They could not have been any more obvious.